Welcome back to Show and Go. I'm Zach, and today we're starting on something new. I'm sorry that I haven't made very many videos. I know a lot of you are sad that I haven't gotten much further in my orange J series build. But I've been really busy. Graduated college, got married, grown facial hair, and this new build that I'm doing, it's because the new spring's coming, show season's starting, and it would take a lot of work to get the orange car show worthy, let alone running. But onto the new build. Ta-da! Here it is. It's a 94 Mazda Miata. So my orange one's a 95, and then I have pretty much all the pieces in my storage unit to a 96. My 95 and the 96 pieces are both M edition. So since I'm gutting out the interior of the orange one to make it more of a track build, we'll end up putting all the best parts from my orange car and the 96 M edition into this one. So I'll give you a quick walk around. That there's some slight hail damage on the hood, little bit of nicks there. This must have had a clear bra and they did it poorly because they have a cut in the hood. Front bumper, it's in pretty sad shape. We'll see if we can save it. It's pretty lumpy. Both fenders, they have some damage. It looks like somebody rattle canned this one. But then the rest of the car is in pretty good shape. Very little rust. Clean title. Never been in at least a serious accident that totaled it. The soft top is in decent shape. Rear bumper has typical scratches and stuff. Yeah, so I think it's a pretty good platform to get started on. So let me explain what we're going to do today. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. So there's the stock wheels. And we're going to put these rotas, if I remember. Yep. I'm going to put these on here. These are 15 by 10 with a 0 offset. They should poke out a little over an inch. These ones currently have stretch tires on it. These tires are still good. The other two wheels that I have, the tires are slightly worn and they're not rota proxies. So I'm going to get another set of these same proxies, but different size, where I'll have straight sidewalls. So I'm going to be building a wide body kit for this out of metal, and we're going to hopefully make it look sick. We're going to first start on this front fender. Figure that the fenders are easier to start on just because you can remove them and they're easier to replace. Also, from my 96 M edition, I have spare fenders and also quarter panels. So if I do end up, when it comes to doing the quarter panel, if I do end up butchering it, I have all the pieces to undo it. It'll just be a little bit more welding and body work, but for me, body work is free because I do it myself. And so let's get these wheels on and we'll see what we got. this is the first time I've put these on my car, and look how meaty that is. Yeah, so it sticks out perfect in my eyes for what I want to do with it. You can see that's stock, and this is 0 offset on the 15 by 10. Let's see if I get both. I believe stock wheels are like 7 inches wide, or maybe it's 6.5. Ooh, that looks good. You know, there's not enough space behind my car to get a full booty shot. Okay, so next step is to take this fender off, because I'm going to be cutting up that one. This is my daily driver currently, so whatever I do today, I have to make it still drivable by the time I leave. So let's see how much we could get done. As you can see, I got the fender off. Then I have discovered some things about this car. So if it may have been in an accident or a little fender bender sort of thing. If the fender is an aftermarket, that it's black on it, and then also this is not made by Mazda. And I'll show you the back side of my other fender. So that's a little bit more what it would look like from the factory, at least for that. With the edge poly, if it was original, it'd probably be the same color as this, like e-coating stuff. And then also this is a lot thicker or heavier than the aftermarket one. Also, they have this wiring harness, old zip tie. I'll probably end up doing a wire tuck like I did on my orange one, which I'll end up fixing that then. So let's get started. Well, as I'm placing this, I'll walk you through my plan. So my plan is to have the front come out a little wider, where I'll end up being like that. So it'll almost be, the front part will mostly be like kind of stretched. I'll end up cutting up here on the flat surface and gently pulling this back half out, and so then I'll have this part wider here in the back, which I'll use some of this steel mesh that I bought. So I'll put that on the back side. Yeah, so I'll end up having this part pulled out. So that way, stick out like that. So, and then I'll also do some work on here, and I'll make a piece that goes from here to the door, so that way it's aerodynamic. You don't have the air coming in. That I want it to look nice, but I also want it to be functional. That if you watched any of the SEMA videos with the GTR, they had the crazy body kit. All the aero was fake. This is going to be fully functional. So if I do end up changing it to a track car or something to do like time attack, that the body will be able to help me in that. So I'm going to bolt this up and get it all marked up with tape, and we'll start filming again. So here's an up close shot of where I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut on the top side of the yellow tape, and I think this will work well. That I'll be able to have my sheet metal follow this edge, and I'll I'll just pop the fender out a couple of inches like I did on the bottom. And it's fairly parallel with the fender. So as far as the bottom sticking out, that's how far I'm going to make the top part stick out. So let's get everything set up to cut it with the grinder. So for now we're going to use my cordless cutter. I've got a cutting wheel on it for two reasons. One, mostly because it's still early in the morning Saturday, and on the back side of the shop there's an apartment, and people would wake up if I turn on the air compressor, because it's kind of vibrates through the walls a little bit. So we're going to use this, so hopefully my battery lasts. I have some other ones. And other crazy thing, this cutting wheel is like $2. If any of you have Dremel tools, those little cutting wheels cost more than these $2 ones, and this is a big one, so I don't get why Dremel costs so much. So let's start cutting that. I don't want to hit the door, and luckily when you open up the door's not in the way anymore. So let's readjust this guard and get going. Also, remember that you have the wiring harness under here and other important metal things, so try not to go too crazy. And because I'm left-handed, it's kind of hard to see where I'm going, so I think I'm going to cut this way so I can see what I'm doing. So I'll go cut it, and then we'll continue on. So I now have it cut. I have it cut to the length of my sheet, and you may not be able to see it from where I have my camera at currently, but I was able to cut really straight and on the tape line where I wanted when I was able to see where I was going. So make sure if you do any cutting that you're able to see where you're going. And it looks like I should be able to pull this out. So I guess I'm just going to close the door so I can see where I'm going and just see what happens. I think I'm going to make a little relief cut here so that way it hinges a little bit more. When I do this on this is more like a practice run, so when I do it on the other fender, I'll be a little bit more precise about things. Like I won't try to do that, but I can fix. So I'll just eyeball it. A little more. Yeah. So that's about the game plan. And then this, I'll just stick it on the back side and weld it. Yeah. So I get kind of see what I'm getting at. I think I feel confident to give this a go on the actual fender that I'll be using. I have the pieces cut out. As you can see, I kind of messed up on that one, not too straight, but it'll still work. It's all going to get covered under the fender, and it will weld the same. So, other thing that I did, I'm going to end up cutting it longer. So you can see here, that's where I did my relief cut. I cut it pretty much to the end of where this is, and it lets it expand without putting a kink in it. So we'll do that. So let's move on to the fender we'll actually be using. So whenever you're welding, you want to make sure that you have clean surfaces. So we'll end up grinding this down the bare metal on this front side, and then also on the inside. And right here where these holes are, I'm just going to use those to do kind of like spot welds. And then I'll come and do some welds here on this side, and then also on the inside. So this piece will definitely be going nowhere. So let's grind this stuff up. So don't forget to wear your gloves. And also I drilled my holes. I drilled out this one, even though I'm going to end up welding it, but just to run a bolt through it and line it up to where it needs to be. So let's grind some of this stuff up. So I finished welding it. It's not the prettiest, but luckily most of the time with body work you end up grinding it smooth. So that's all that's important is your penetration and the strength of your weld, which this should be plenty good. So I'll grind it off, and I won't video all that for you, but I'll grind it off and then I'll show you what it looks like and what I'm going to do next. So I have it mostly grounded down. Still not the prettiest. Luckily this part's underneath the car. I'll end up spraying some self-etching primer on it, and then to seal the metal, and then I'll smear some around here seam sealer, which it's similar to caulking, and it'll help make sure that no water or debris gets in there. Not sure why my camera doesn't focus right now. But yeah, so that's how that looks. The next part I'm going to do, since I have it off right now, is I'm going to cut this part of the lip off. Right where this edge is, I'll go straight across here. I'm going to end up putting some mesh in here once I get my fender all fabbed up. I have it bolted on and focus, and it looks like it will work beautiful. So I cut it. When I cut it, I can't open the door right now, but I ended up cutting on the inside of the fender. You can see there. So that way I can maintain the tab that goes onto the corner, the bolts. Now when I weld on the little piece that go in the space, I'll also weld it on to here. With it pulled out, I'll have to, I'll probably end up cutting it here and then folding it over, so that way it looks the same as the edge there. Also, it turns out the gap is one normal sanding block and the skinny sanding block width. And I think it'll look pretty good. So that's the yellow tape shows how wide my piece needs to be. Whenever you're doing, like, at least for like sectioning and stuff, they want you to have a 1/2 inch overlap, and the tape is a 1/2 inch wide. I also was able to cut this perfectly straight along the tape line. Practice makes perfect, I guess. So the way that I'm going to figure out how to make my template is using a piece of paper. I'll just put my camera on my stand, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So I'll just match the tapes and run over the tape. I should be able to see, yep, I can see the tape. And on this side, so some of you may be wondering why I'm not just going to butt weld it. I'm not too sure, other than like when I got ITAR certified for doing sectionings and stuff, that the training said that you're supposed to have a 1/2 inch overlap and not to butt weld. So maybe it's stronger or easier to not mess up. Also nice. I'll just figure out that part later. Okay. So this is right there. So I'm gonna make this a 1/2 inch long or 1 inch longer. Now that I got that all marked out, I'll cut this off and lay it on my piece of sheet metal so I know how to mark that. So I have my sheet metal marked, and it turns out that so this is where it starts by the door and then goes till I run out of the metal. That it is the exact same, like I could fit 2 of the exact same things on one sheet, and then on this sheet I have the rest of it. So I'll have some leftover, but I thought it was pretty neat how both of these fit on there. So if it was longer, I could have put both. Well, I guess maybe not. But anyway, yeah, so that worked out pretty good. So I'll go chop that up and show you how to mount it onto the fender to get it all ready to weld. Once you have the metal bare and all the paint off, I end up using the tape, putting that back down there, and then tracing with a permanent marker. And I'm just going to spray some of this wall-through primer. Have the mix. patches, make sure that you grind clean the edges too. That basic protective coating on the outside to keep it. And to attach it, I'm just going to use some self-tapping screws to hold it in place. And then as I weld it, then I'll take them out and then weld the holes. And then where these two pieces match, you always want to leave a gap about the half thickness of the gauge that you're using. That way you have complete penetration when you're welding, and it'll weld the whole thing. This out. Awesome. So I'll give you a up close view of everything. So spacing there looks good to me. And got that all on. Got the welder over here. Well, that should work. I took this fender off. My memory card got full, so I'm gonna work on that. But I'll just record working on this side. So the other side's gonna be the same. So next step is to start welding. Looks like after I grounded it, that I ended up grinding this back a little bit and then welding it. Then all the other spots I just ground the welds down flat. But there's a spot right here where it kind of like bulges up and I can flex a little bit. They call that like pop can or tin can. I just need to heat shrink that spot a little bit. But I'll do that after I get this corner all situated. This is what it looks like on the back side. It's fairly ugly and gross, I suppose. But you can see that I have really good penetration, where it was coming almost too much. Some spots I was too hot so I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. So ideally you have it where it just like that color change right there. Any spot where it pops out like that. Same with welding aluminum. Oh, got the area too hot. It's all covered under here. I'm just gonna run seam sealer after priming it. I run seam sealer to keep it watertight. So that's what it looks like there. And so my game plan for here, this is where it needs to be, this little tab. So I'm going to cut it off here and cut off this part. And then I'm going to carefully bend it here and carry the bend around. So this bend, where you see this line, is going to be the new edge of the fender. So I will start having a go at that. This is what it looks like. It's kind of hard to see maybe, but I was able to cut it, bend it, test fit it, bend it some more, weld it, test fit it, bend it some more. So it should work pretty good. Before I leave for the day, I'm going to do some body work on this, so that way I can get to all the bare metal covered and it in primer and such. So that way I can put it on and leave for the day. I won't show that in this video, but in the next one I'll show you how to do the body work on these fenders. And so until next time, thanks again for coming or watching, and I hope you thought this was kind of cool. I'm super excited for this wide body that I'm doing on this Miata. I was planning on doing the same thing on my orange one, but I was hoping to get the orange one running. I'm now thinking that I'll just drive this red one with just the stock motor. I'm going to be doing an air intake and exhaust and stuff, but I'll leave the engine alone, and then once that goes, then I'll swap in all the JV6 stuff into this one, and by then I'll get better parts to make the swap even better and easier to work on down the road. Well, thanks again for joining me, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.